Richard H. is a former Royal Military Police Close Protection officer with over 30 years' experience. He's the author of the book Close Protection. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
And now, central to his case, Prince Harry argued that his situation should have been put before RAVEC's Risk Management Board to assess the threats he and his family's security actually faced. That didn't happen. Were you surprised with the ruling the court came up with?
I was shocked, but certainly not surprised. Sir Geoffrey Voss, the judge of the Court of Appeal, said that the Duke's grievance had not translated into a legal argument. Well, that's because the provision of protection should not be based on legal argument, but through a formalised approach to the assessment of threat and risk. But they're firmly sticking to legal process, ruling that the security decision has been a predictable and even a sensible reaction to Megxit. When Harry stepped back from being a senior royal in Great Britain. Threats against a person who has protection afforded to them due to their status within a specific family are not diminished when they leave the duties of that family. They will always remain a member of that family. Prince Harry is sixth in line to the throne. That hasn't changed. The threat and risk assessment against Harry hasn't really been mentioned whatsoever throughout the past 5 years during this process. It's all been geared around a legal approach to the situation and not about any formalised approach to the assessment of risk and threat against him.
Well, the judges said yesterday the committee had diverged from policy back in 2020 because of the complexity of his circumstances. It was deemed a sensible thing to do. But it sounds like you might agree with what sounded like a very emotive judgment of his that this has been a stitch-up.
Absolutely. I think Prince Harry has nailed it in that terminology there. It is an establishment stitch-up. It's clear that the entire process has been caught up in emotion and appears to be nothing other than spite from the royal household, where senior public figures in position of power in government and in RAVEC must see to be toe the party line. It's retributive justice for Megxit, not as any balanced, formalised approach to assessment of threats and risks to those threats.
We heard Prince Harry talking yesterday about the influence he feared the royal household had on this decision at RAVEC. How much influence do they actually have within this?
The royal household is in control here. The members of the household are part of RAVEC. They form an element of RAVEC in combined with members of Parliament, senior protection command officers, and so on. And of course, when you have senior members of the royal household staff influencing decision-making process, how in effect can you actually work in conflict against that? You'll be working in conflict against the crown, in effect, because the members of the royal household are speaking for the king.
So when you have Prince Harry writing to the Home Secretary saying, can you review this process? That sounds like a bit of a non-starter, would you think?
No. The decision on RAVEC is usually conducted by assessment of risk, and that assessment is through opinion, experienced opinion. Legal process isn't part of it. It's the accurate assessment of threat and risk. And we're not just discussing the armed protection here on the ground of the United Kingdom when Prince Harry visits. We are talking a whole host of security measures that work in the background. A whole host of diverse intelligence flows and so on.
Just to make it clear, though, there are some circumstances under which he would still qualify for protection in this country. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, RAVEC will say it's conducted on a case-by-case basis. However, in reality, after the judge's ruling, Prince Harry will not receive police protection as a default setting. The only instance that he will receive police protection would be if he is co-located at a royal function, for example, where other members of the royal family are present who are receiving police protection at the time, and he will become within that VIP group. So in effect, as a default setting within that specific instance, he will receive police protection.
Okay,
if
Richard
an attack
H.
goes in.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you.
My family, those are the words of Richard H., who of course has supported Prince Harry, what he said in the interview he did with BBC. And we are learning that senior members of the royal family are not happy about that interview, not just the one Harry did, but also this one by Richard H. And to those who believe that senior members of the royal family never complain, never explain, you have been fooled. They complain and they do explain. But I know that everyone who's here watching know that very, very well. They know that very, very well. And my family, BBC right now, BBC News and BBC Radio are all running scared. They are all running scared after, of course, Harry's interview and also the words from Richard H., whereby they're even having to apologize for the interviews. You know, it shows you really how the royal family have control over even the UK media. When you see that the BBC, that is supposed to be independent, even they also are so scared of the royal family, you know, you can see with your own two eyes that indeed the power that senior members of the royal family have over the press is indeed immense. Is indeed immense. Now, allow me to please tell you what, of course, has just happened. What, of course, we have just learned. Now, my family, right now, the BBC has issued a statement whereby they're crying, you know, and of course issuing apologies to the royal family after Harry's interview, and also after the interview done by a former royal protection officer who indeed has agreed that Prince Harry's security was stripped to punish him for daring to step back as a senior member of the royal family. And before I even talk about what Richard H. said, let me read you the statement that the BBC has had to issue. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. King Charles is clearly angry. The people are agreeing with what Harry is saying. That people can see the cruelty of Charles and Prince William in how they have treated Harry and Meghan. To the point that even the BBC cowers, you know, to the royal family, kowtows to senior members of the royal family. Let me read you this statement by the BBC, and I quote. The program covered the latest developments in the story of Prince Harry and his legal case having to do with protection for him and his family in the UK, and interviewed former close protection officer Richard H. to get a broader understanding of security, you know, considerations. Claims were repeated that the process had been an establishment stitch up, agreeing with Harry's words. And then BBC says that they failed to properly challenge these and other allegations. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The power of the royal family. The power of Charles in full display. You know, I recall in Spare Harry says that Charles told Prince Harry, you know, my darling boy, I can't control the media. I can't tell them what to do. Harry laughed and he said that it is like Per saying he could not tell his valet what to do. Harry knew indeed that Charles has the power to command UK media to at least back off and stop the bullying of Harry and Meghan. But Charles and William have not done that. In fact, they're the ones who have signed off on this ongoing press assault targeting Harry and Meghan and anyone in their circle, and even the media is part of the hate campaign. Even BBC is so scared of Charles and William that they have to, of course, even issue a statement when someone on their show agrees with Prince Harry. Look at the reaction from the palace. Oh, you know what? This man was never challenged. The man who indeed agreed that Prince Harry is being punished for daring to step back as a senior member of the royal family. Oh, you know what? His claims, his agreement with what Harry said was not challenged by the BBC. My family, you and I are both witnesses. Since when have we ever seen anyone who lies about Meghan, be it Piers Morgan, Angela Levin, who else? Roya Nika and Kate Banzi, all the liars who spread lies about Harry and Meghan, since when have they ever been challenged? Since when? The only time that they have ever been challenged is when Harry and Meghan spoke up during the Oprah interview after many years of lies being told about them. And you all know the reaction from the UK media. How dare you do the Oprah interview? How dare you? And now, Prince Harry spoke to the BBC and confirmed what all of us knew, that indeed his father could intervene, but he doesn't want to. That indeed the palace has a say on who gets security in the UK, but they clearly have no interest in protecting Prince Harry. They're okay with endangering Prince Harry's life. That we already knew. But Harry has confirmed that in court documents and evidence he has seen, it's all confirmed. And because it paints Charles in a very, very negative light, you are seeing right now the palace, meaning Charles and William, their people, doing everything in their power to, of course, protect Charles' image, whereby even a former royal protection officer, someone who has knowledge about how security works in the UK, my family, how you protect VIPs, when someone agrees that Prince Harry is being punished for daring to leave and put his wife and son first, that indeed, as Harry has said, it is an establishment stitched up. They're doing everything in their power to endanger Prince Harry, Meghan, Archie, and also now Lilibet's lives. Right now, you're seeing that, of course, the royal family doesn't like it when people agree with Prince Harry. And they're like, but this man was never challenged. But Harry was never ever challenged. Since when have we ever seen the people who are the PR arm of the royal family, members of the Rota, since when have we ever seen them get challenged on the many lies they spread about Harry and Meghan on a daily basis? Lies which the firm and UK media are, of course, comfortable in spreading. Since when? Since when? I've always said, and the people who bully, lie, and abuse Harry and Meghan can never ever last a single day in their shoes. Those words are the truth and nothing but the truth. They can't last a day in Harry and Meghan's shoes. They can't. They can't. They can't. They can't. Even Charles and William, when you see them being painted in a negative light, rightfully so, you see, the palace PR machine get activated, and even UK media will bend the knee. Will bend the knee to Charles and William. But they tell Prince Harry, you know what? We can't tell the press what to do. My family, when Charles and William get negative press, immediately the tabloid or media outlet that wrote something negative about Charles and William bends the knee immediately and says, we are sorry. Or you know what, we'll put in a disclaimer. Or you know what, we won't ever show the panorama interview that Diana did ever again. We're never going to show it ever again, they say. But the palace doesn't have the Charles doesn't have the power to tell the media what to do. Oh, he does. He does. And he just told the BBC, listen, I didn't like that interview by Robert H. I believe that my family is his name. You know what? I didn't like that interview. You know? I didn't. His name is Richard H. Sorry, Richard H. Yeah. Charles told, of course, BBC, listen, I did not like that interview. And you know what? Send a message saying your story to me, and that indeed you, BBC, did not, of course, challenge his words. Oh my goodness, 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 oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My family, I continue with what, of course, the statement by the BBC, you know, that agrees with the royal family. And I quote, we failed to challenge this and other allegations spread by Richard H. This case is ultimately the responsibility of the Home Office, and we should have reflected their statement. And I quote, we are pleased that the court has found in favor of the government's position in this case, and that the UK government's, protective security system is rigorous and proportionate. It is our long-standing policy not to provide detailed information on those arrangements, as doing so could compromise the integrity and affect individual safety. We also should have given the view of Buckingham Palace that all of these issues have been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached on each occasion. This was a lapse in our usual high editorial standards. In our usual high editorial standards, says BBC. This was a lapse in our usual high editorial standards. The BBC once again bends its knee to Charles. My goodness. The more you see this stuff, the more you realize that indeed something could have been done to stop this smear campaign targeting Harry and Meghan. But of course, Charles and William were the ones behind it. So of course, they have always wanted for the smear campaign to continue. And that's why they have never ever done anything to stop it or condemn the ongoing smear and hate campaign being waged against Harry, Meghan, and even their kids. And even their kids. My family, what we're seeing here is utterly very, very concerning. What we're seeing here is utterly very, very concerning. Even the BBC itself has bent its knee to the royal family. And if the BBC, that is taxpayer funded, can do that, what about my family, of course, BBC? What about my family, of course, ITV, Good Morning Britain, GB News, all of them also who are cheerleaders for the royal family, who are basically cheerleaders for the royal family. What about them? Even they will do as they're told. And every time they have attacked Meghan, they have done as they've been told by senior members of the royal family. And don't forget, the lies that are spread about Meghan every single day are never ever challenged. Ever. Ever. And the firm have no issue with that. But call them out, they'll be like, oh, the interviewer never ever challenged this person. They say. My family, honestly, as we've been saying for a long time, the people who bully and abuse Meghan can never ever truly last a day in her shoe. They can't put up with what they expect Meghan to put up with every single day. And honestly, why has the BBC got so scared? Here's why. They're afraid of being cut off by the royal family. Remember, if there is something I've learned and seen that multiple British media outlets are so scared about, they're afraid of being cut off by the royal family. That is not being briefed or fed, stories or information by the royal family. They're afraid of being cut off by the royal family, by the royal household. And they play ball with what they're told so as not to be cut off by the royal family. And that is what we're seeing right now. Charles and William are angry about the interview, and they want to ensure that even this stuff is erased. We can't allow them to erase it. Richard H. told the truth, that indeed Harry is being punished for daring to leave. And also, he said himself that just because Prince Harry stepped back as a senior member of the royal family, it doesn't mean that the threats towards him just go away like that. That is not what it means. That is not what it means. And it's true. It's true. And every single day that Charles refuses to allow for a risk assessment to be conducted to assess the threats that Prince Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lily face every single day, which he knows are real and valid threats, but refuses to protect Harry and Meghan, he is actively endangering Harry and Meghan's lives every single day, and even their kids. And it is totally and completely unacceptable. Now, right now, I want to hear your opinion on what we have. Let's discuss. May God bless Harry, Meghan, Archie, and also Lily, Bedana, and Dorian, and all of you members of the squad at home. It never wins, love wins, and stay tuned to our next video. Love you all forever, and may God bless you all. You all can see the power of the royal family. Even the BBC has bent the knee to the royal family. Even the BBC, like it did by saying, oh, you know what, we're never going to showcase the Panorama interview ever again, just so they don't get cut off. And that's why we've been saying this, that if the royal family wanted UK media to stop the bullying of Meghan and abuse of Meghan, they would have stopped bullying and abusing Meghan. But it's clear, but it's very, very clear that Charles and William had zero intentions of protecting Harry and Meghan. Shame on them. Shame on them for putting Harry and Meghan at risk and in danger. And right now, I want to hear your opinion on what we have just discussed. May God bless you all, and stay tuned to our next video. Love you all forever, and may no weapon formed against Harry, Meghan, Archie, and also Lilibet, Diana, my family ever prosper. Everything Harry and Meghan have said is the truth, and nothing but the truth. Everything. I want to say thank you for watching our video, and please kindly like, subscribe, and support our ever-growing family on YouTube. I always say that the battle between good and evil will continue until the end of time, and we are on the side of God. We condemn the ongoing hate campaign being waged against Meghan, Prince Harry, Archie, and Lily Bedana, and we ask William, Charles, Kate, Camilla to please end this. Please end this. The time has come. You must stop your smear campaign and apologize to Prince Harry and Meghan. Apologize to Harry, Meghan, to Archie, and Lilibet for all the pain you've caused them. And once again, it's been so many years of you following this channel. I want to say thank you. To our new subscribers, please welcome and join in, and welcome to the family. We love you very much, and thank you for all your support. It means the world to us, and may God bless you immensely, immensely, immensely. Stay tuned to our next video. Love you, always and forever, and may God bless you all.